The rain poured relentlessly as Detective Arthur Lane stepped into the dimly lit hallway of the old crumbling Department of Antiquities. The building, once a grand symbol of historical preservation, now stood as a shadow of its former self. Its walls were lined with dusty artifacts, and the air carried the faint scent of mildew. But tonight, the department was not just a relic of the past, it was a crime scene. The body of Professor Harold Whittaker, the department's most renowned historian, lay sprawled on the floor of his office. His lifeless eyes stared at the ceiling, and a pool of blood had formed beneath him. A single stab wound to the chest was the apparent cause of death. The police had already cordoned off the area, but they were stumped. There were no signs of forced entry, no murder weapon, and no obvious motive. That's why they had called Detective Lane. Lane was a man of methodical precision. His sharp mind and keen eye for detail had solved countless cases, and he wasn't about to let this one slip through his fingers. As he examined the scene, he noticed something peculiar. A small, ancient dagger was missing from the display case in the corner of the room. The case was labeled Medieval Weaponry, and the empty space where the dagger had been was clearly visible. Who had access to this office? Lane asked the department's secretary, a nervous woman named Margaret. Only a few people, she stammered. Professor Whittaker, of course, his assistant, Dr. Emily Carter, and the janitor, Mr. Jenkins. But Professor Whittaker was very private. He rarely let anyone in without an appointment. Lane nodded, jotting down notes in his small leather-bound notebook. He decided to start by interviewing Dr. Carter, who was waiting in the next room. She was a young, intelligent woman with a passion for history, but her hands trembled as she spoke. Professor Whittaker was like a mentor to me, she said, her voice shaking. I can't believe someone would do this to him. He was working on a groundbreaking discovery, a lost artifact from the 15th century. He said it would change everything we know about medieval history. Did he tell you what the artifact was? Lane asked. No, she replied. He kept it to himself. He said it was too dangerous to share until he had all the evidence. Lane's curiosity was piqued. He thanked Dr. Carter and moved on to interview Mr. Jenkins, the janitor. Jenkins was a gruff, older man with a no-nonsense attitude. He claimed he had been cleaning the hallway outside the office when he heard a loud thud. When he went to investigate, he found the professor's body and immediately called the police. Did you see anyone else in the building? Lane asked. No, Jenkins replied. But I did see Dr. Carter leaving in a hurry, about an hour before I found the body. She looked upset. Lane's mind raced. Dr. Carter had mentioned the professor's discovery, and now Jenkins had placed her near the scene of the crime. Was she involved, or was there more to the story? As Lane continued his investigation, he discovered a hidden compartment in the professor's desk. Inside was a journal filled with cryptic notes and sketches of the missing dagger. The final entry read, "The dagger holds the key to the artifact's location, but I fear someone is after it. If anything happens to me, the truth lies in the department's archives." Lane hurried to the archives, a vast room filled with shelves of ancient documents. After hours of searching, he found a dusty manuscript that matched the sketches in the journal. It described the dagger as a key to unlocking a hidden chamber beneath the department, a chamber that supposedly held the lost artifact. As Lane pieced together the clues, he realized that the professor's murder was tied to the artifact. Someone had killed him to steal the dagger and claim the treasure for themselves. But who? The answer came when Lane confronted Dr. Carter. She broke down in tears and confessed. She had been desperate to prove herself in the academic world and had pressured the professor to reveal the artifact's location. When he refused, she had taken the dagger from the display case, hoping to find the chamber herself. But the professor had caught her in the act, and in a moment of panic, she had stabbed him. "I never meant to hurt him," she sobbed. "I just wanted to make a name for myself." Lane arrested Dr. Carter, and the case was closed. But as he left the Department of Antiquities, he couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The dagger was still missing, and the hidden chamber remained undiscovered. Somewhere beneath the old building, a secret from the past waited to be uncovered, but at what cost? And so, the mystery of death in the department was solved, but the shadows of the past lingered, reminding everyone that some secrets are better